Today I'm back with another tutorial for Urban AI Academy. Today I'm going to be looking at one of my favorite synths, one of the newest synths too. It's called Serum 2. Shout out to my guy, Steve Duda, for coming up with another amazing invention. Beautiful synth. As you can see, the interface is very clear. The contrast is flat. I mean, it's just a beautiful UI. If you look in the bottom of the right hand corner, you're going to see a drag, slide, knob feature, whatever you want to call it. This will make it smaller. This will make it bigger. You could, if you're using Logic, you can go into I think there's a tab that allows you to pick the size of it. Is it? Maybe not. But anyway, I just said I'll kind of go over this synth from left to right. As you can see, there's two parts to it. You have the top part, which is this beautiful flat matte gray, and then you have the bottom, which is the matte black section. So I will call this part 1, and I'll call this section part 2. So just to simplify, to make things easy, everything in this section right here in the bottom makes everything up here on the section move. So these are going to be all your modulators, all your motion, your envelope, your macros, your LFOs. The first section here is called your sub-tab. As you can see, you have 6 different waveforms, 6 different wave types for your sub. It goes down 4 octaves, it goes up 4 octaves. If you hold on command and you click on it, it'll reset it to 0. This is your pan knob. This is the level knob, so this is the volume depending on how loud you want it. You have your oscillator section. To enable a section, you just click on the button here that turns it off and turns it on. So I'll turn off the sub. So oscillator A, B, C, they're all identical. So I'm only going to go over one of them, and then you can just apply that theory and that context to the rest of them. So for our oscillator section, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 5 different ways to manipulate and create sound. You have your multi-sampler, you have your sampler, you have your granular sampler, you have your spectral sampler, and then you have the wavetable. So from here, you can pick your wave shapes. These are the shapes that come along with it. And there's something going on with my sound card right now. I'm using Logic, but yours isn't going to show this right now. So don't pay attention to that right there. So let me just take it off and put it back on so that way I don't throw anybody off. All right, close it out. And if it happened again, I'm going to just keep it moving because I don't have anything to do with the tutorial itself. So these are the wave types. I also have my personal ones. You can input those as well too. So you click on this here, open up your Serum Preset 2 folder, and this tells you you put your tables here. So this is where you put your user tables. And then you also have any samples you would place in here, so your user samples would go in here as well too. Any section where it says save your content here, that means you can save your content there. So if you have your own LFO shapes, you could do the same thing as well too. So what's beautiful about this is that he spent a lot of time going over different sounds and different synths. It seems like this is a lot of synths combined together, and that's why I love it. It seems like he almost future-proofed it. So these are the different sounds, and anything that's in here could be modulated, whether it's a string, a timpani, a guitar, a piano. You could treat it like a wavetable, like a sound design and a synthesis. Another part that's beautiful as well too is that you could import your own wavetables, which I have saved as well. I showed you that a second ago. But you could also import a sample. So let me go to my personal samples, and then I'm just gonna load up a sample that I'm working on at the moment. And this is the whole 3.5 minute waveform. So this ain't just like a little piece of it, and it'll play the whole waveform. And what's beautiful about this is now you can edit and you can chop this up the same way you can in the sampler, simpler, anything else. So now you could use a sample and use it with a sound design, frame of mind, and just flip it even more. So you can have a vocal and then put some kind of sub underneath it within the same parameter. I mean, the possibilities is endless. I know I'm sounding crazy right now, but what I have in my mind is kind of wild for what I want to do with this. So just imagine you having a vocal in here, and now you can add on different effects You got your reverb, your OTT. You could put multi-band compression on it. So you could take your regular sampling to a whole nother level. All right, now let me reset this back and put another init pad. So you would go here, init preset. You have a spectral table as well too. You have a granular synth, your regular wave table, and it's going to be the same thing for everything that's in here. It's the same thing for isoscellated B and C. So all of these tabs in here, they could be modulated. And like I was saying, these are your tabs that modulate. So this is the wave table position. This is just sliding through the wave table in order to find that sweet spot. So you can use an LFO. So instead of you having to drag it manually and do this in real time, that's what the LFO is going to do. So everything now here modulates all these gray parameters up here. So you just have to pick the ones that make sense and the ones that work best. So you can modulate the wave table, and let's just kind of give it a go. And this is going to be the speed. This is what controls it. And you could actually move this around. You can create your own shapes. And what's beautiful about this too is that you can extend this and get a bigger view of it, so that way you're not trying to fight within that little real estate, that little tight space right there. And you could do even crazier stuff with it. So now you have a dedicated noise section, the same way you had before. Your color, your white, pink, brown, Geiger, these are going to be the different noise types. You can turn the oscillator off, so that way you just have the noise. I'm not sure why the thing keeps dropping. All right. So you can just have the noise going. These are going to be your dedicated filter sections. Filter 1, filter 2, these are your filter types. And this is how you actually get the filter to work, because I know sometimes people get confused. You have to make sure that this tab is enabled. And it's set up beautifully because it looks exactly the way it is here. So sub A, B, C, noise. That's what this is. So this is the sub oscillator, A, B, C. This is going to be your noise. So make sure that these are enabled if you want to hear them. And you could also use this sound design wise as well too. So you might not want a particular oscillator affected. So you might not want B affected. You might just want A and C affected. So this is how you control it here. And so from here, these are going to be your wave modifiers. These modify the wave shape. Another feature that's in here as well too is that you can swap them. So you would just click on it, swap, and it's going to move what you had on the left on the right and vice versa. This will give you even more sound design possibilities, or you might just have a different sweet spot set up with the routing if you mix them. Sometimes just the littlest thing just works out. And so from here, everything that's in here can be modulated. This is going to be the global ADSR. So if you have a short ADSR, that means that you're going to be making plucks, leads, bass stabs. A longer one, you're going to have a tendency to make, swells, pads, atmosphere, textures. So this is going to be the global ADSR. This is going to be your attack. So it's going to take longer for the sound to be heard. And that's our global ADSR. As I said, the further we move it back, the longer it takes for the sound to start. So you have 4 envelopes and you have 10 LFOs. And if you're wondering how to get to that 10th LFO, take that there, drop it on it, and then it's going to show 7, 8, 9, 10. So the way that you get to oscillator, to LFO 7, 8, 9, 10 is that you have to use the first 6. Or you have to assign 6 to a parameter, and then you'll see 7, 8, 9, 10. This is your velocity. This is your note section, your voicing section, your mono. This is how you get the glide. So if you're making your drill 808s or just a drill lead, you would click that there. Your legato. That's there as well too. He has an arpeggiation section. So these are the same patterns that we're used to in Ableton, FL Studio. Logic has some of these patterns as well too. The thumb up, thumb down, converge, diverge. I know I've seen that in Ableton a lot over the years. This is a door within a door. You can create chords here so that way when you're creating the chord and the pad, you already have it set up for the feel that you want. There's little clips, there's little patterns that he has set up inside of it. So these are songs in itself for, I would say, 8-bar chord progression. So if you're creating a pad and you want to hear how it's going to sound, you can set it up in real time so that way you don't lose that translation when you're trying to actually, finish up the song. When you was making it, it sounded like this, but now when you're trying to bounce it, it sounds like something else, and you're searching for another sound. So this allows you to not lose the feel. These are the 5 sections: our oscillator section, the mix section. You click on the tab the same way you click on this one, on the green button. This will turn on the sound. This will give you more flexibility with mixing. You just got to grab on the actual mix channel itself. And this is how you mix individually. So you can mix all 3. You can mix 2 of them. This could be, you could look at it as a multi-layered synth. You could look at it like, this is your top, this is your middle, this is your bottom. And you can have this as an additional sub. So that's normally how I make a sound. I'll have 3 layers, but now that you have a dedicated oscillator for the sub, you have three oscillators, I would have these 2 running. I would have this as I would still use this one, but I would have this as the top, the mid, and then this would be the sub. And maybe you could have this one doing something different, adding like a little bite somewhere else in the middle frequency. So you can have 3 running at the same time. It's very complex, as I said. It depends on what you're trying to make. At the end of the day, like, if you're sound designing, there's a difference from sound designing and writing a song. Like, you're making a sound for a reason. Like, you're trying to be creative. You're trying to be distinctive. It's a separate process from songwriting. So when you're in that sound design bag, make sure that you're in that bag and make the best sounds that you can. These are the effects that you can add. Reverb, delay, flanger. He has a splitter in here. Split low, mid, high frequencies. Lows, you can turn off the tab here. Reverb, chorus. Most of these effects sound amazing as well too, and you can run the Serum too as a separate plugin, so you don't need to use it just for that way. You can use it just for the effects if you like the way they sound. And this is doing the same thing. So this is the modulation or the matrix modulation. So let's just say we want to modulate this wave position. What we did before was we just grab this, so you just press it and then you just drag it to the thing. That's the same exact thing as saying that we want, I'm going to say LFO2. So that's the same thing that's saying that we want LFO2 to modulate oscillators 1, and that's the wavetable position. So this way makes it a lot more confusing because it's like you got to read through all of these submenus and submenus to figure out what it is that you want to do. Once you understand how modulation works, like, this page isn't scary at all, but when you first look at it, it makes no sense just because it's a lot going on. But this is doing the same exact thing. So this is saying that we want LFO2 to modulate the wavetable position of oscillator A. So we'll do it again. We'll say we want LFO2 to modulate the oscillator the oscillator B. And if we go to the matrix tab, it's the same thing that we just dropped on it. LFO2, wavetable, position B. So this is just giving you a visual representation, dropping it on it, and then this is giving you a written representation of it, almost like a formula. So that's pretty much everything in this synth. As I said, it's very in-depth. These are the macros. I think I didn't go over these, but you can assign, so it's basically like if you want to have the filter, the cutoff, you want to have more than one parameter move at one time, you would assign a macro to it. In order to do that, you just drag the parameter to the button, and it does the same thing. So now when you right click on it, it tells you everything that's assigned to this macro, and you can remove all the destinations. So now nothing is attached to it, and I'll do a fresh one. So I'll say I want the filter, I want the level, and I want the drive, and I would just call this, yeah, a filter drive or something, because it's just like you got a lot going on, but you want to remember what it is. I'll just call it drive, and then you'll see that all three of these parameters are gonna move when you turn it. All right, let's do it one more time because it didn't work. Filter. Mod source, filter, 1. And it could be, let me try it again. This thing been tripping. I got a new sound card, and every time I open up Logic, I want to get stupid. All right, let me remove all this. I'm gonna try it one more time. That's interesting because it's not changing the. Let me reset this. All right, well, it's not working. It's not modulating the thing. Let me try one more. Let me try another init patch that I got. Actually, why are you not macroing if you're supposed to be macroing? Apply and delete macro. Yeah, it's not macroing. Let me delete it just to make sure I'm not tripping. Let me try LFO 1. It's working. It's just a macro. Maybe it's something I'm doing. Could be something I'm doing as well too, but the macro is there macroing like it's supposed to. I'm gonna try it one more time and then I'm gonna keep it pushing. All right, it is working. It's just not showing a visual representation in real time. Yeah, all right. So it is working, and that's why you got to work through these things, man. That's why I'll be editing because it's like it's not real life. Like you got to figure this stuff out because then when you get off camera and the stuff don't work. All right, so the patch works. You just essentially don't get a real time representation. I guess I'm used to the macro moving when the actual button moves, but it actually is moving because if you see here, it's off, and if we turn it all the way back here, it's gonna be, you can't even hear it. So that means that it's working. The filter is on, but it's just not a real time representation. And I'll put it over here just to hear a little wobble. Yeah. So it's not a real time. It's not a real time representation, but as I said, this synth is it's a lot that's going on in this synth. You just got to really dig into it and kind of like figure out what type of sounds you want to make. And that's the thing, when you're doing sound design, you want to sit down with a purpose. You want to be like, I'm making the bass, I'm making the lead, I'm making a pad. You don't want to just sit down and just be like twisting knobs and you sitting here for an hour and you don't have anything done. So sit down with a purpose. When you first learning it, there's nothing wrong with just going through each section and you want to listen to it. You want to move a knob and you want to see what it does, because everything is so visual now. Before, you didn't have anything moving. Like with a lot of these synths, like when you open up Massive 2, it's just like turning a knob and assuming what it's doing. With this Serum, like, it's very visual. So when you turn a knob, you can see exactly what the waveform is doing. And that's what's beautiful, is that you can see and hear what's going on at the same time. And so that's going to make you a better sound designer a lot faster. So just being able to see and hear at the same time and just experiment. And all this is just experimentation. But at the same time, you got to know how to make it musical. Once you have a dope sound, you got to know how to write a dope song, because a sound without a purpose is pointless. You know what I'm saying? So make sure that when you developing your own personal sound, that you still know how to write dope songs. And that's it. I'm going to get at y'all. We chop it up on the next one.